Why did he see that? Okay, so you are there. Hi, Shaurav. चलो start. Okay, wait. Zoom. Zero on Zoom. At least tell me your name. You are Indian. My name is written there in this channel, right? It's EMA. शुभम, तुम और एलेक्स डिस्कॉर्ड में पढ़ रहे हो क्या, या फिर नहीं पढ़ते? मैं टेस्ट दूं पढ़ाई करने से पहले? लेट मी वेयर सॉक्स। नहीं, हाँ आजकल नहीं पढ़ते, मुझे भी ऐसा ही लगा। Let me wear socks. आई एंट्रोपी, फिजिक्स वाला एंट्रोपी या केमिस्ट्री वाला एंट्रोपी? I'm preparing for NEET entropy. Your name is not entropy. What is it? I just woke up. The world got destroyed in my dream. I wish this could come true. Okay, Shaurabh. Shaurabh the Superman, now you can leave. We will study. Go and save the world, Shaurabh. एलेक्स आ गया। वैसे एलेक्स ना पहले से ही था, लेकिन एलेक्स बस टेस्ट कर रहा था कि मैं कब इसका नाम लूँ और ये सुन के ना खुश होके वापस आ जाए, है ना एलेक्स? मुझे मुझे ये चैप्टर ना करने में बहुत ही मौत आ रही है, मौत, लेकिन फिर भी मैं करूँगी। लिविंग वर्ल्ड ना, मॉर्फो है ना। ये अब जितना भी रिमेनिंग चैप्टर्स है ना सारा डिफिकल्ट है, तो मैं कौन सा वाला पढूं? हाय, जा रहा था घर। तुमने मुझे वो नहीं किया तो? नहीं, मैं अभी आया, जा रहा था घर। ओके, नहीं हम दोनों को पता है ना शुभम, एलेक्स कैसा है। Exposing the darkest conspiracy behind KIIT उड़ीसा। ओके, मैंने एक वीडियो देखा था, अब मेरे पास इतना सारा वीडियो पड़ा है। हाय सरफराज, आप किसकी तैयारी कर रहे हो? I just woke up, the world got destroyed in my dream. I wish this could come true. Please tell me, please, are you agree with my question? Are you agree नहीं होता सौरभ, do you होता? Anyways, no. I have my own POV, bro. मैं बुरा हूँ, क्यों? हाँ, मुझे पता है तुम किस चीज़ की बात कर रहे हो, अब मुझे पता चला। वो लास्ट फाइट को लेके तुम कंटिन्यू कर रहे हो क्या? आप कहाँ से हो? मैं सिक्किम से हूँ। सॉरी, मैं अभी 9th में हूँ। दी सीख रहा हूँ। इट्स ओके सौरभ। बस सीखते रहना चाहिए, मैं भी सीख ही रही हूँ। मैं कौन सा वाला चैप्टर पढूं? एलेक्स तुम बताओ तो, बायो का 11th बायो का एक इजी वाला चैप्टर, मैं वही पढ़ लेती हूँ, क्योंकि ना अभी मुझे ना जो भी चैप्टर कर लेती हूँ ना वो रिमेनिंग। वो सारा ही मुझे टफ लग रहा है, पता नहीं कहाँ से स्टार्ट करूँ। मैं ना ये पढ़ लेती हूँ ना, प्लांट ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट। आई थिंक ये वाला इजी रहेगा मेरे लिए बाकी चैप्टर्स के कंपैरिजन में। आई इतना सारा पढ़ना है, कोई बात नहीं, पढ़ ले। आहा, ये भी तो पढ़ना है, काफ़ी सारा पढ़ना है। पढ़ना तो सब है ना, पढ़ना तो सब है, लेकिन कौन सा वाला पढ़ूँ? इजी से स्टार्ट करती हूँ ना, एक बार फ्लो पकड़ जाए तो फिर पढ़ते रहेंगे ना, इसलिए इजी वाला चैप्टर आई थिंक यही सही रहेगा, प्लांट ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट वाला। तो क्या इजी क्या डिफ़िकल्ट? अया नॉट एबल टू गेट बैक क्या होता है श्री? वापस आना पड़ता है। ऐसे तो मेरा भी दिल नहीं करता ना पढ़ने का, लेकिन फिर भी मैं मुंह बना के आ जाती हूँ। मेरा अभी भी थोड़ी देर पहले मेरा बिल्कुल मन नहीं था, लेकिन अब पढ़ेंगे। मैम आप अपना स्टडी रूम दिखाओ प्लीज़। मैम आई डोंट हैव स्टडी रूम ब्रो, इतना रिच नहीं हूँ। तुम्हें शर्म नहीं आती? प्लांट ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट, हाँ यही वाला कर लेती हूँ। भैया ये चैप्टर मैं कर तो पाऊंगी ना। एनाटोमी का मुझे रिवीजन भी करना है, लेकिन मेरा ना दिल नहीं ये रहा है कि रिवाइज करूँ, इसलिए नहीं किया रिवीजन। ठीक है, मैं यही वाला चैप्टर कर लेती हूँ। ओके शुभम और एलेक्स भागना मत, क्योंकि ना तुम लोग ही हो दो जो पढ़ रहे हैं शायद इस वक्त, तो मुझे भी लगेगा कि कोई तो पढ़ रहा है एटलीस्ट। भागना मत, ओके? बीच बीच में आते रहना, बीच बीच में आते रहना, आते रहना। वैसे एलेक्स का ब्रेक है आई नो। प्लांट ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट, हाँ यही वाला चैप्टर कर लेती हूँ। मैम रिच पुअर की बात नहीं कर रहा था। हाँ तो रिच पीपल के पास ही होता है ना स्टडी रूम ब्रो। सरफराज, आई थिंक वो मुझे पकाएगा, लेकिन मैं अभी इस वक्त पकना तो नहीं चाहती। कितनी मुश्किल से पढ़ने का मन बना के आई हूँ, प्लीज़ मत पकाओ ना। रिफ्रेश, वीडियो देख के पढूं या फिर ऐसे ही रीडिंग करूं? न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ रही हूँ ऐसा। इमा में भी पढ़ाई कर रहा, ओके नहीं, लेकिन तुम हम लोगों के साथ नहीं पढ़ते ना, आई मीन लाइक तुम पढ़ रहे हो होगे, लेकिन हम लोगों के साथ नहीं पढ़ते ना, इसलिए मैंने ऐसा कहा। आई थिंक शुभम तो शुरू होने से पहले ही भाग गया। थैंक यू, सेम टू यू एसएस। चलो मैं प्लांट ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट वाला सही स्टार्ट करती हूँ, क्योंकि ओके ओए हूँ मैं तो बोला करना बीच बीच में, मैंने बताया तो बोलो कि तुम हो ऐसा। फिर एलेक्स नहीं होगा, मैम। तुम भी मैम बोलो एलेक्स, मुझे कितना अच्छा लग रहा है मैम सुन के, मैम वाह। ओके बाय बाय, आप रीडिंग करो, मैं भी रीडिंग करने जा रहा। ओके सरफराज, टाइमिंग क्या है आपके स्टडी के, सो मैं भी टाइमिंग मैच कर पाऊँ? हम लोगों का कोई टाइमिंग नहीं होता, जब मन करता है दिन रात पढ़ते हैं, जब मन नहीं करता लाइव ऑफ करते हैं। ओ ग्रेट, मे 4 है ना नीट? हाँ चलो मैं ना वीडियो लेक्चर से ही पढ़ लेती हूँ। ओके वैसे तो ना मुझे नहीं, मैं रीडिंग कर लेती हूँ एक बार, उसके बाद मैं फिर से एक बार वीडियो लेक्चर देख लेती हूँ, फिर हो जाएगा जो होना है। ओके स्टडिंग फॉर व्हाट? NITN? ओके सत्या, we are preparing, actually I am preparing for NEET. Okay, this one is a fourth slot, right? Or third one? Alex, this one is our third slot or fourth one? I think fourth one, right? Slot 4. We did 3 slots in the morning time. So here it goes, slot 4. I'll pin this. हो गया पिन भी. आई हाँ सरफराज, गुड लक. आप ये कौन सा अटेम्प्ट है? ये मेरा 50वां अटेम्प्ट है. श्री ये वाला ग्लोवर लीफ मुझे नहीं चाहिए, मुझे ना वो 4 लीफ वाला चाहिए जो एलेक्स भेजता है. एलेक्स तुम ही भेज दो मेरा लीफ, फिर हम लोग स्टार्ट करेंगे. हाँ ये वाला, क्योंकि तुम लोगों को मीनिंग नहीं पता है क्या इसका? ये 4 लीफ वाला क्लोवर लकी होता है क्योंकि बहुत ही रेयर भी होता है. मेरे टेबल पे भी है लेकिन 3 लीफ वाला है. It's hope. It's not hope. It's a symbol of luck. आज ही सुनी मैं होप वाला तो. ज़्यादा टाइम वेस्ट ना करो यूट्यूब पे, आप पढ़ाई स्टार्ट करो. लोग आते रहे जाते रहते हैं. चलो स्टार्ट. ओके 50 मिनट का. ओके ये वाला स्लॉट 4. वैसे मैं ना एलेक्स की इंतज़ार कर रही थी कि वो क्लोवर लीफ भेजेगा, लेकिन उसने नहीं भेजा. Plant growth and development. You have already studied the organization of a flowering plant in chapter 5. Have you ever thought about where and how the structures like root, stem, leaves, flower, fruit and seed arises, and that too in an orderly sequence? You are by now aware of the terms seed, seedling, plantlet, mature plant. You have also seen that trees continue to increase in height or growth over a period of time. However, the leaves, flowers, and fruits of the same tree not only have limited dimension but also appear and fall periodically and sometimes repeatedly. Why does the vegetative phase precede flowering in a plant? All plant organs are made up of variety of tissues. Is there any relationship between the structure of a cell or tissue, an organ, and the function they perform? Can the structure and the function of these be altered? All cells of a plant are descendant of the zygote. The question is then, why and how do they have different structural and functional attributes? Development is the sum of two processes, growth and differentiation. Growth and differentiation. To begin with, it is essential and sufficient to know that the development of a mature plant from a zygote, fertilized egg, follow a precise and highly ordered succession of events. During this process, a complex body organization is formed that produces roots, leaves, branches, flowers, fruits, and seeds, and eventually they die. In this chapter, you shall also study some of the factors which governs and controls these developmental processes. These factors are both intrinsic internal and extrinsic external to the plant. Intrinsic and extrinsic factor. Development is sum of the two processes, growth and development. Differentiation, growth, and the differentiation. Differentiation. My favorite subject is chemistry. Germination and seedling, development in being. Germination and seedling. हालांकि मैंने वो फेवरेट क्या ही बोलूँ, मैंने कुछ पढ़ा नहीं केमिस्ट्री ही. Germination and seedling, development in being. A young plant raised from seed. Soil line, cotyledon. Okay, this one is hypocotyl. Seed coat, epicotyl. Cotyledons. Cotyledons. Hypocotyl. Seed coat. Epicotyl hook. Epicotyl. Hypocotyl. Growth. Growth is regarded as one of the seedling, a young plant raised from seed. Okay. Seed, okay, seedling, plantlet. Okay. Growth is regarded as one of the most fundamental and conspicuous characteristics of all living being. What is growth? Growth can be defined as an astaghfirullah. Growth can be defined as an irreversible, permanent increase in size of an organ or its part or even an individual cell. Generally, growth is accompanied by metabolic processes, both anabolic and catabolic. Accompanied metabolic process that occurs at the expense of energy. Therefore, for example, expansion of a leaf is growth. How would you describe the swelling of piece of wood when placed in water? Plant growth generally is indeterminate. Plant growth indeterminate. Difficult to measure count. Okay. Plant growth is unique because plants retain the capacity for unlimited growth throughout their life. The ability of the plant is due to the This ability of the plant is due to the presence of meristems at certain location in their body. The cells of such meristem have the capacity to divide and self perpetuate. Perpetuate. Okay, I don't know. Continuing is coming in यही होता है. Okay, the product, however, the cell of this the cell of such meristem have the capacity to divide and continue growing होगा शायद. The product, however, soon loses the capacity to divide and such cells make up the plant body. This form of growth, wherein new cells are always being added to the plant body by the activity of meristem, is called the open form of growth. What would happen if the meristem ceases to divide? Does this even happen? In chapter 6, you have studied about the root apical meristem and the shoot apical meristem. You know that they are responsible for the primary growth of plant and principally contribute to the elongation of plant along their axis. You also know that in dicotyledonous plant and gymnosperm, the lateral meristem, vascular cambium and cord cambium in dicotyledonous plant and gymnosperm. The lateral meristem, vascular cambium, and core cambium appears the lateral meristem, vascular cambium, and core cambium appears later in life. These are the meristem that cause the increase in growth of the organ in which they are active. This is known as secondary growth of the plant. These are the meristem that cause the increase in growth of the organ in which they are active. This is known as secondary growth of plant. Growth is measurable. Growth at a cellular level is principally a consequence of increase in the amount of protoplasm. Since increase in protoplasm is difficult to measure directly, increase in the amount of protoplasm, since increase in protoplasm is difficult to measure directly, one generally measures some quantity which is more or less proportional to it. Growth is therefore measured by a variety of parameters, some of which are increase in fresh weight, dry weight, length, area, volume, and cell number. Increase in fresh weight, dry weight, volume, area, cell number. Some parameters are increase in fresh weight, dry weight, length, area, volume, and cell number. Dry weight, length, area, volume, length, area, volume, length, area, volume, and cell number. Fresh weight, okay? It's okay. You may find it amazing to know that one single maize root apical meristem can give rise to more than 17,500 new cells per hour. You may find it amazing to know that one single maize root apical meristem, okay? Single maize, okay? कुंचे plant को maize को one single maize root apical meristem, okay? Single cell of root apical meristem in maize plant can give rise to more than 17,500 new cells per hour. 17,500 new cells per hour. When you free one short video of your study room. When you free one short video of your study room. Two per, okay. One single maize root apical meristem can give rise to one single maize root apical meristem can give rise to more than 17,500 new cells per hour, whereas cells in watermelon may increase in size by up to 350,000 times. Cells in watermelon may increase in size up to size by up to increase in size by up to 350,000 times. Watermelon ma 350,000 times, whereas maize ma one single root apical meristem can give rise to more than 17,500 new cells, okay? Cell in watermelon may increase in size up to 350,000 times, okay? 7,500 new cells in maize, okay? In the former, the growth is expressed as increase in cell number. The latter express growth as increase in size of the cell. While the growth of a pollen tube is measured in terms of its length. Growth in pollen tube is measured in terms of its length. An increase in surface area denotes the growth in a dorsiventral leaf. In the former, growth is expressed as increase in cell number. The latter expresses growth as increase in size of the cell. While the growth of a pollen tube is measured in terms of its length. The growth of pollen tube is measured in terms of its length. The growth of pollen tube is measured in terms of its length. And increase in surface area denotes the growth of dorsiventral leaf. Surface area. Dorsiventral leaf. Shoot apical meristem. This is shoot. Root apical meristem. Shoot. Vascular cambium. Vascular cambium. Or color direction. Diagrammatic representation of the location of root apical meristem, shoot apical meristem, and vascular cambium. Arrows exhibit the direction of growth of cells and organs. Phases of growth. The period of growth is generally divided into three phases, namely meristematic, elongation, and maturation. The phase of growth is generally divided into three phases, namely meristematic, elongation, and maturation. Meristematic, elongation, and maturation. These are the three phases of growth. Period of growth is in three phases: meristematic elongation and development, maturation. Let us understand this by looking at the root tips. The constantly dividing cells, both at the root apex and the shoot apex, represents the meristematic phase of growth. Both at the root apex and the shoot apex represents the meristematic phase of growth. The cell in this region are rich in protoplasm, possess large conspicuous nuclei. The cell in this region are rich in protoplasm, possess large conspicuous nuclei. Represents the meristematic phase of growth. The region are rich in protoplasm, possess large conspicuous nucleus. Okay, rich protoplasm, large nuclei. The cell wall are primary in nature. The cell walls are primary in nature, thin and cellulosic, with abundant plasmodesmatal connection. Their cell walls are primary in nature. Abundant plasmodesmatal connection. The cell proximal, just next away from the tip to the meristematic zone, represents the phase of elongation. Increased vacuolation, cell enlargement, and new cell wall deposits. New cell wall deposition are the characteristics of the cell in this phase. Okay, increased vacuolation, cell enlargement, and new cell with deposition. New cell wall depositions are characteristics of the cell in this phase. For apex, that is more proximal to the phase of elongation, lies the portion of axis which is undergoing the phase of maturation. The cell of this zone attain their maximal size in terms of wall thickening and protoplasmic modifications. The cells of this zone attains their maximal size in terms of wall thickening and protoplasmic modification. It's okay. The cell of this zone attains the maximal size in terms of undergoing the phase of maturation. The cell of this zone attains maximum size in terms of wall thickening and protoplasmic modification. Most of the tissues and cell type you have studied in chapter 6 represent this phase. Okay. Wall thickening, protoplasmic modification, increased vacuolation, cell enlargement, and new cell wall deposition. Chats of करियो. Okay. कहाँ गया? हाँ कर दिया. elongation and maturation. The cells of this region are rich in protoplasm, possess large conspicuous nucleus. Cellulose with abundant plasmodesmatal connection. Abundant plasmodesmatal. Cellulosic with abundant plasmodesmatal connection. Cell region. Protoplasm. Rich in protoplasm. Large nucleus. Thin cell wall with plasmodesmatal connection. Cellulosic with abundant plasmodesmatal connection. The cell wall are primary in nature, thin, okay, with abundant plasmodesmatal connection. This is proximal to this. Mathematic zone represents the phase of elongation, okay. Increased vacuolation, cell enlargement, and new cell wall deposition. Root apical meristem, then elongation. Reason of elongation, then reason of maturation. Cell growth, condition of growth, differentiation of development. Regulators either way. Is termed as increased growth. Per unit time is growth rate. What is growth rate? Increased growth per unit time. Thus, rate of growth can be expressed mathematically. An organism or a part of the organism can produce more cells in a variety of ways. Okay, arithmetic. Charge. Okay, this is arithmetic. Then other one is geometrical. Arithmetic and geometrical. Zygote divided. Geometric phase of cells divide. Arithmetic phase. Cells capable of division. Cells that lose capacity to divide. Okay. Diagrammatic representation of arithmetic geometrical growth. Arithmetic growth, geometrical growth, and stage during embryo development, showing geometric and arithmetic phase. Geometric and arithmetic. Okay. The growth rate shows an increase that may be arithmetic or geometrical. Growth rate shows an increase that may be arithmetic or geometrical. In arithmetic growth following mitotic cell division. Only one daughter cell continues to divide. Mitotic cell division. Arithmetic growth, mitotic cell division. Only one daughter cell continues to divide while others differentiate and matures. The simplest expression of arithmetic growth is exemplified by a root elongation at a constant rate. The simplest expression of arithmetic growth is exemplified by a root elongation at constant rate. Mitotic cell division. Only one daughter cell continues to divide while the other differentiates and matures. The simplest expression of arithmetic growth is exemplified by root elongation at a constant rate. Okay. On plotting the length of the organ against time, linear curve is obtained. Mathematically, it is expressed as LT is equals to L naught plus RT, where LT is length at time t. Length at time t is equals to L naught, length at time 0 plus RT. Growth rate, elongation per unit time. Growth rate, elongation per unit time. Let us now see what happens if geometrical growth, the linear, right? Linear curve is obtained for arithmetic growth. For arithmetic growth, linear curve is obtained. LT is equals to length at time t is equals to L naught length at time 0 plus RT. R is growth rate or elongation per unit time. Growth rate or elongation per unit time. RT. L naught plus RT. L is equals to L naught plus LT is equals to L naught plus RT. Let us now see what happens in geometrical growth. In most systems, the initial growth is slow. I will sleep. ऐसा हो रहा है. टाइमर तो पॉज कर लो. आज सुबह सुबह उठने का नतीजा ये हुआ, इसलिए मैं दिन में उठती हूँ. नहीं सो सकती, रात को जल्दी सो जाऊंगी. अभी पढ़ते हैं ना. ईमा मैं चार्टर लगाऊंगी अगर तू सोई तो. एल टी इक्वल्स टू एल नॉट प्लस आर टी. एल टी मैं उठ के पढ़ूँ क्या? मुझे नींद आ रही है, मैं उठ के पढ़ती हूँ ओके, वरना मैं सो ही जाऊंगी ना. एल टी इक्वल्स टू एल नॉट प्लस आर टी. एल टी लेंथ एट टाइम टी, एल नॉट लेंथ एट टाइम 0, आर इज ग्रोथ रेट एलोंगेशन पर यूनिट टाइम. मैं चलते चलते पढ़ूंगी ताकि ना मैं ना सो जाऊँ, क्योंकि मेरा सोने का बहुत ज़्यादा चांसेस है. ग्रोथ रेट और एलोंगेशन पर यूनिट टाइम. ग्रोथ रेट और एलोंगेशन पर यूनिट टाइम. हाइट ऑफ द प्लांट increases with the time. Okay, this is arithmetic growth. LT, which is length at time t, is equals to L naught plus RT. RT. Okay. Elongation per unit time. R is elongation per unit time. L naught is length at time 0. Okay. Let us now see what happens in geometrical growth. In most system, the initial growth is slow. In most system, the initial growth is slow. Lag phase. Okay. The initial growth is slow. Lag phase. Okay. Geometrical growth have different phases. One is lag phase. As it increases. Okay. Phase में क्या होता है? Initial growth is slow. Excuse me. And it increases rapidly thereafter at an exponential rate. Okay, after lag phase, it increases rapidly thereafter at exponential rate. Log or exponential phase. Lag phase, then log or exponential phase. Here, both the progeny cell following mitotic cell division retain the ability to divide. Mitotic cell division retain the ability to divide and continue to do so. In geometrical growth, in most system, the initial growth is slow, lag phase. As it increases, the initial growth is slow, lag phase, and it increases rapidly thereafter at an exponential rate, log or exponential phase. At an exponential rate, log or exponential phase. Here both the progeny cell following mitotic cell division retain the ability to divide and continue to do so. Here both the progeny, okay, at an exponential rate or okay, एकदमै छिटो छिटो के हुन्छ डिभिजन हुन्छ. It increases rapidly thereafter at an exponential rate log or exponential phase. Here both the progeny cells following mitotic cell division retain the ability. Both the progeny cells following mitotic cell division retain the ability to divide and continue to do so. However, with limited nutrient supply, the growth slows down, leading to a stationary phases. Okay, tinta phase vayo. Lag phase, log or exponential phase, and then the last one is stationary phase. Okay, stationary phase. Janera nutrient को supply के अनुसार limited. With the limited nutrient supply, the growth slows down, leading to a stationary phase. If we plot the parameter of growth against time, we get a typical sigmoid or S curve. Arithmetic मा linear curve हुँदैछ. के पाउँछ? Linear curve पाउँछ. Whereas exponential मा sigmoid or S-shaped curve पाउँछ. Sigmoid, okay? Sigmoid or S-shaped curve. A sigmoid curve is a characteristic of living organism growing in a natural environment. Sigmoid curve is a characteristic of living organism growing in a natural environment. It is typical for all cells, tissues and organ of the plant. It is typical for all cells, tissues and organ of the plant. Can you think of more similar examples? What kind of curve can you expect in a tree showing seasonal activities? The exponential growth can be expressed as W1 equals to W0 ERT. W1 final size, weight, height, number, etc. Final size in weight, height or number, etc. Weight पनि हुन सक्छ, height पनि हुन सक्छ, number पनि हुन सक्छ. Final size, okay? W0 is equals to initial size at the beginning of the period. Initial size at the beginning of the period. R is growth rate or elongation per unit time. Growth rate or elongation per unit time. T is time of growth. E is base of natural logarithm. PYQ. E in this W1 equals to W0 ERT, where W1 is final growth or final cell size. Final size, okay? W0 is initial size at the beginning of the period. R is growth rate. T is equals to time of growth. T equals to time of growth. T equals to time of growth. T equals to time of growth. R equals to growth rate, okay? E is base of logarithm, natural logarithm. Here R is the relative growth and it is also the measure of the ability of the plant to produce new plant material, referred to as efficiency index. Here R, relative growth rate, is also the measure of the ability of the plant to produce new plant material, referred to as efficiency index. Hence, the final size of W1, the final size of W1, final size or W1 depends on the initial size W0. नींद ही आ रही है मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ. एक मिनट रुको, अम्मा किस कर रही है. अम्मा अवियांश को परेशान कर रही है, लेकिन मुझे भी उसको परेशान करने का दिल किया, लेकिन मैं उससे बात ही नहीं करती, ना ही वो मुझसे बात करता है. फिर से बैठ के पढ़ लेती हूँ, लेकिन फिर से नींद आया तो फिर से उठूंगी, क्योंकि आज मैं दिन में नहीं सो सकती ना, ताकि रात में नींद आ जाए, वरना मुझे रात में नींद नहीं आती. Base of natural logarithm W0, initial size W1, final size R, growth rate, T, time of growth. Here R is the relative growth rate. Okay, there it was ग्रोथ रेट एलोंगेशन पर यूनिट टाइम arithmetic માં કે થયો growth rate થી અંદર relative growth rate and it is also the measure of the ability of the plant to produce new plant materials referred to as efficiency index. Hence the final size of W1 depends on initial size W0. Height of plant time constant linear growth a plot of length against time. I don't think about it. हो गया constant linear growth a plot of length L against time t. Height of plant, this is length L against time t. Okay, size weight of the organ the side time size or weight of the organ. मुझे नहीं सोचना है उसके बारे में, मैं ना एम्बैरेसिंग चीज़ें ज़्यादा सोचता हूँ. साइज वेट ऑफ द ऑर्गन, दिस इज टाइम. लैग फेज, एक्सपोनेंशियल फेज, देन स्टेशनरी फेज. लैग फेज, एक्सपोनेंशियल फेज, स्टेशनरी फेज. लैग फेजમાં સ્લો हुन्छ. Slow growth, initial growth is slow and increase rapidly. Exponential, limited nutrition को कारणले गर्दा stationary phase आउँछ. Okay, both the progeny cells following mitotic cell division retains the ability to divide and continue to do so. Okay, sigmoid, an idealized sigmoid growth curve typical of cell in culture and many high plants and plant organs. An idealized sigmoid growth curve typical of cells in culture and many higher plants and plant organs. Lag phase, exponential phase and stationary phase. Lag phase, exponential phase and stationary phase. Size and weight of the organ. हो गए. Diagrammatic comparison of absolute and relative growth rates. Both leaves A and B have increase the area by 5 centimeters square in a given time to produce A1 and B1 leaf. Okay, quantitative comparison. Two formula are there, right? For arithmetic growth. Arithmetic growth. Okay, L1 is equals to L naught RT. L equals to L naught RT. L naught plus RT होता है. L naught plus RT. Then for exponential L naught plus RT. Growth rate, elongation per unit time. Exponential W1 equals to W naught e to the power RT. This is relative growth. Time period. Time of growth. T is time of growth. Time. It's okay. I feel so terrible. Time of growth. Growth rate. Time of growth. Base E is base of natural logarithm. W1 equals to W naught ERT. This one is base of natural logarithm. RITHM. Base of natural logarithm. Initial size at the beginning of the period. Final size. Okay, efficiency index. R is relative growth and it is also the measure of the ability of the plant to produce new plant material, referred as efficiency index. The ability of plant to produce other material other plant material. वो ही तो लिखा है मैंने. मुझे अभी याद आया, मैंने ना ये जो अभी मैं ये जो चैप्टर का फॉर्मूला कर रही हूँ ना, वो मैंने वहां पर चिपकाया है. इतना बड़ा बड़ा मार्कर से लिख के चिपकाया था, लेकिन मैं रोज देखती थी, मैं ये कहा किस चैप्टर से लिखी होगी ऐसा सोच सोच के, लेकिन ये इस चैप्टर का था। Quantitative comparison between the growth of living system can also be made in two ways. Quantitative comparisons between the living of Quantitative comparison between the growth of living system can also be made in two ways. Measurement and the comparison of total growth per unit time is called measurement, and the comparison of total growth per unit time is called absolute growth rate. The growth of the given system per unit time expressed as common basis example per unit initial parameter and is called the relative growth rate. There is absolute growth rate and relative growth rate. Two leaves A and B are drawn that are of different sizes but shows absolute increase area in the given time to give leaf A1 and B1. However, one of them shows much higher relative growth rate. Which one and why? I Measurement and the comparison of total growth per unit time is called the absolute growth rate. क्या पढ़ना पड़ रहा है, मुझे समझ में भी नहीं आता है। पिछली बार भी इसी में मैं अटकी थी शायद। Quantitative comparison between the growth of living system can also be made in two ways. Measurement and comparison of to growth. Measurement and the comparison of total growth per unit time. Total growth kati bhayo per unit time. Okay, absolute growth. The growth of the given system per unit time. Example, per unit initial parameter is called the relative growth rate. Different sizes but shows absolute increase in area in the given time to give leave A1 and B1. Okay, ये देखिए 5 सेंटीमीटर स्क्वायर थे 10 सेंटीमीटर स्क्वायर है, 50 सेंटीमीटर स्क्वायर थे 55 सेंटीमीटर स्क्वायर में। Diagrammatic comparison of absolute and relative growth rate. Both leaf A and B have increased their area by 5 centimeters square in a given time to produce A1 and B1 leaf. 100% relative growth here, 10% relative growth. How to calculate this one? Do again, okay? Redo. Condition for growth. Growth development. Plant growth regulator. हाँ. Condition for growth. Why do you not only write down what you think are necessary condition for growth? This list may have water, oxygen, nutrients. Condition for growth. Why do you not try to write down what you think are necessary condition for growth? This list may have water, oxygen and nutrients as the essential element for growth. The plant cell grow in size by cell enlargement, which in turn requires water. Turgidity of cell helps in extension growth. Thus, plant growth and further development is immediately है ना, intimately. Thus, plant growth and further development is intimately linked to the water status of the plant. Development, I don't know. This plant growth and further development is intimately linked to the water status of the plant. This plant growth and further development is intimately linked to the water status of the plant. Water also provide the medium for enzymatic activities needed for growth. Water also provide medium for enzymatic activities. Water provide medium for enzymatic activities needed for growth. Oxygen helps in releasing metabolic energy essential for growth activities. Excuse me. Turgidity of cell helps in extension growth. Plant growth and further development is intimately linked to the water status of the plant. Water also provides the medium for enzymatic activities needed for growth. Oxygen helps in releasing metabolic energy essential for growth activities. Nutrients, macro and micro essential elements are required for plant for the synthesis of protoplasm and act as source of energy. Nutrients, macro and micro essential elements are required for are required by plants for the synthesis of protoplasm. Enzymatic activities needed for growth. Water. Oxygen helps in releasing metabolic energy essential for growth activities. Water, oxygen, nutrients, macro and micro essential element required by plants for synthesis of protoplasm. Nutrients required for the plant for the synthesis of protoplasm and act as source of energy. In addition, every plant organism has an optimum temperature range best suited for their growth. Plant organism has an optimum temperature range best suited for its growth. Any deviation from this range could be detrimental to its survival. Any deviation from this range could be detrimental to its survival. Uh, Environmental signals light, gravity also affect the certain phase stage of growth. Okay, environmental signals such as light and gravity affects the certain phase stage of growth. That was so cheap. Such as light and gravity also affect certain phase growth or stage of growth. Certain phase or stage of growth. Certain phase or stage of growth. Differentiation, de-differentiation and redifferentiation. Differentiation, de-differentiation and redifferentiation. Okay. The cell derives seven. Differentiation, de-differentiation and redifferentiation. The cell derived from root apical and shoot apical meristem and cambium differentiates and mature to perform specific functions. Differentiation, de-differentiation and redifferentiation. The cell derived from root apical and shoot apical meristem and cambium differentiate and mature to perform specific function. This act leading to maturation is termed as differentiation. During differentiation, cells undergo few major structural changes both in their cell wall and protoplasm. For example, to form a trachea, I don't know what is this. Trachea element. I think this one is trachea only. Trachea element. The cell would lose their protoplasm. They also develop a very strong elastic lignocellulosic secondary cell walls. Very strong elastic lignocellulosic. Strong elastic lignocellulosic secondary cell wall. Lose protoplasm. To carry water to long distance even under extreme tensions, okay, they become elastic and strong and lignocellulosic secondary cell wall develop, okay, to carry water to long distance even under extreme tension. Try to correlate the various anatomical features you encounter in plant to the function they perform. Plant shows another interesting phenomena, the the living de-differentiated cells that by now have lost the that by now de-differentiated, okay, have lost the capacity to divide can regain the capacity of division under certain condition. This phenomena is termed as de-differentiation. For example, formation of meristems, interfascicular cambium and cork cambium. Interfascicular cambium, vascular cambium, interfascicular cambium and cork cambium form fully from fully differentiated parenchyma. Cork cambium and interfascicular cambium, that is vascular cambium, interfascicular cambium, vascular cambium and cork cambium from fully differentiated parenchyma cell. Okay. While doing so, such meristem tissues are able to divide and produce cells that once again lose the capacity to divide but mature to perform specific functions, that is, get redifferentiated. Hi. The living differentiated cells that by now have lost the capacity to divide can regain the capacity of division under certain conditions. This phenomena is termed as de-differentiation. For example, formation of meristem, interfascicular cambium and co-cambium from fully differentiated parenchyma cell. While doing so, such meristem tissues are also to divide. Interfascicular cambium and core cambium from fully differentiated parenchyma cell. For example, formation of meristem, interfascicular cambium and core cambium from fully differentiated parenchyma. For example, formation of meristems, interfascicular cambium and co-cambium from fully differentiated parenchyma cell. While doing so, such meristem tissues are able to divide and produce cells that once lose the capacity to divide but matures to perform a specific function, that is, get re-differentiate. Okay, differentiation, de-differentiation, and again re-differentiate. Certain tissues are able to divide and produce cells that once again lose the capacity to divide but matures to perform specific functions, that is, get re-differentiated. List some of the tissues in a dicotyledonous plant that are the product of re-differentiation. Okay, secondary cortex and secondary xylem, secondary phloem. Co, 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 co. Okay, how would you describe a tumor? What would you call the parenchyma cells that are made to divide under controlled laboratory condition during plant tissue culture? We have mentioned that the growth in plant is open. That is, it can be indeterminate or determinate. Growth in plant is open, that is, it can be fixed or not limited. Okay, indeterminate or determinate. Oh, maybe fixed. Okay. Now we may say that even differentiation in plant is open because cell. Okay, growth in plant is open. Even differentiation is open. Because cells, tissues, okay, because cell कहाँ कहाँ मैंने वो बेकार में लगा दिया, मुझे नहीं पता. न्यूरल कंट्रोल एंड कोऑर्डिनेशन में और एक्सक्रीशन में नहीं लगाया है. It can be indeterminate or determinate. Now you may say that even differentiation in plant is open because cell tissues arising out of the same meristem have different structure at maturity. Because cells tissues arising out of same meristem have different structure at maturity, the final structure at maturity of a cell tissue is also determined. The final structure at maturity of cell tissue is also determined by the location of the cell within. Maturity of the cell tissue is also determined by the location of the cells within. For example, cells positioned away from the root apical meristem differentiated as root cap. For example, cell positioned away from the root apical meristem. सेल ये तो वो ER में आ सकता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल assertion, reason. For example, cell positioned away from root apical meristem differentiate as root cap cells, while those pushed to the periphery matures as epidermis. Away from root apical meristem, root cap. Push towards the periphery matures into epidermis. Epidermis. Can you add a few more examples of open differentiation correlating the position of a cell to its position in an organ? Can you add a few more examples of open differentiation? The position of a cell to its position in an organ. ये उसमें होगा ना, वास्कुलर कैम्बियम वाले में भी तो हो सकता है. Development is a term that includes all changes that an organism goes through during its life cycle from germination of seed to senescence. All the changes that an organism goes through during its life cycle from the seed to senescence, from germination of seed life cycle, from germination of seed to senescence. It is a term that includes all changes. Development includes all changes that an organism goes through its life cycle from germination of seed to senescence. Diagrammatic representation of the sequence of process which constitute the development of a cell of a higher plant is given in figure 15.8. It is also applicable to tissues or organs. Okay. Plant follow different pathway in response to environment or phase phases of life. Plant follow different pathway in response to environment or phases of life to form different kinds of structure. This ability is called plasticity. Plasticity. Plants can differentiate. Plants follow different pathway. Fourth wala slot complete. Plant follow different pathway in response to environment or phase of life to form different kinds of structure. Plants follow different pathways in response to environment or phase of life to form different kinds of structure. This ability is called plasticity. Example: heterophyly. Heterophyly in cotton, coriander, and larkspur. Larkspur. Heterophyly in larkspur. A. Juvenile, adult. Buttercup. Terrestrial habitat. Water habitat. Heterophyly in cotton, coriander, and larkspur. In such plants, the leaves of the juvenile plant are different in shape from those in mature plant. Heterophyly वंदर्स okay. Juvenile period मा different हुन्छ, different in shape from those in mature plant. On the other hand, difference in shape of leaf produced in air and those produced in water in buttercup also represent the heterophilous development due to environment. Phases of life. Okay, plant follow different pathway in response to environment or phases of life to form different kinds of structure. This is called plasticity. Plasticity. Uh, heterospore, heterophily in cotton, coriander, and larkspur. Larkspur. Heterophily in cotton, coriander, and larkspur. Larkspur. In such plants, the leaves of juvenile plant are different in shape from those in mature plant. On the other hand, difference in shape of leaves produced in air and terrestrial habitat, water. Those okay. On the other hand, difference in shape of leaves produced in air and those produced in water in buttercup also represents the heterophilous development due to environment. This phenomena of heterophily is an example of plasticity. Buttercup, terrestrial habitat, water habitat, aquatic habitat. Thus, growth, differentiation, and development are very closely related event in the life of plant. Broadly, development is considered as the sum of growth and differentiation. Development is considered as the sum of growth and differentiation. अच्छी लाग्दो के हो यस्तो. Development in plant, that is both growth and differentiation, is under the control of intrinsic and extrinsic factor. And differentiation is under the control of intrinsic and extrinsic factor. The former includes both intracellular, genetic, or intercellular factors, chemicals such as plant growth regulators, while the later includes light, temperature, water, oxygen, nutrition. Okay, extrinsic factor: light, water, oxygen, temperature, nutrition, etc. Light, temperature, water, oxygen, nutrition, etc. Light, temperature, water, oxygen, nutrition. Availability of temperature, water, oxygen, nutrient. Light, temperature, water, oxygen, nutrition. Extrinsic. Okay. Intrinsic factor: intercellular and intracellular genetics हुन्छ. Intercellular factors, chemical. such as plant growth regulators. Intercellular factors such as plant growth regulator. Intercellular factors, chemicals such as plant growth regulator. Intracellular genetics. Intracellular genetics. Intracellular genetics. शुभम, एलेक्स, आर यू देयर? कितने मिनट का ब्रेक ले? बोलो. स्लॉट 4 कंप्लीट हो गया. Buttercup, larkspur, coriander and cotton. Larkspur, coriander and cotton. Okay. Did I fake about quitting medicine? Sympathy stunt. 7 मिनट का. ओके. ये मेरे पास क्या आ गया छिपकली वाला. 4 tiny romances that are almost too freaky to share. डीप लुक करके कुछ आया है मेरे यहाँ पर. हाय आस्था. ट्रॉमाटाइज्ड हो जाऊंगी मैं ये देख के. ना ही देखते हैं ना. ओह नाइस. ओके. 2 बजे से 7 नहीं 10 मिनट का ब्रेक लेते हैं ना, क्योंकि ना 2 बज ही तो जाएगा. है ना शुभम? हेलो सिस्टर. राधे राधे. मुझे क्या बोलना होगा? राधे राधे बोलना होगा. ओए देखो ना मेरे पास क्या है। देखो एक दिल है, कुकी वाला दिल। सिस्टर योर टारगेट इज 500 for NEET exam. Yup, you're right. कहा खाने का है क्या? हाँ, मैंने 2 खा भी लिया था पहले, लेकिन यहाँ पर थोड़ा और भी था ना। अभी ये पढ़ रही हूँ, प्लांट ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट। क्या किया इसने, किसको भगा दिया? कितने मिनट का ब्रेक है? तुम एक ही सवाल पागलों की तरह क्यों पूछते हो? अभी तो हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया ना, तुम यहीं पर थे। भैया मैं इसका जवाब नहीं दूंगी। ओके, मैं काफ़ी फ्रस्ट्रेटेड फील करती हूँ अगर तुम एक ही सवाल मुझे दोबारा पूछोगे तो। आदर्श, हम लोगों ने अभी तो डिसाइड किया 2 से स्टार्ट करेंगे। ओके, ऐसा बोल के 10 मिनट का ब्रेक लेंगे, ऐसा बोल के। स्वीट है या नमकीन? दोनों ही होता है, स्वीट भी होता है, नमकीन भी होता है। यू लाइक कुकीज़? आई डोंट लाइक इट। ये तो अम्मा ने लिया था ना, इसलिए खाना पड़ रहा है। यू आर नॉट प्रेजेंट एट दैट टाइम, यू वे देयर। क्योंकि जब से मैं ब्रेक ली हूँ तब से तो तुम थे ही, उससे पहले तो चैट सी ऑफ था। डोंट लाई। यहाँ पर लिख देती हूँ ना 10 मिनट का ब्रेक है, वैसे अभी तो 5 ही मिनट बचा होगा। 4 मिनट बचा है, 4 मिनट ब्रेक। लो पिन कर दिया।
त्यही 1000 पैसा दिदीलाई दे त। यहाँ अहिले नम्बर चाहिँ भनिरहेको छु। यीमा पर्ने जग्गामा आएँ अब।
ए हजुर सकिँदैन।
यीमा मात्रै के गर्छ रातेलाई लगाइदिनु पर्ने रे। एकछिन यहीँ राख्नु हौ, यहाँ लगाइदिइहाल्छु म। नम्बर कि उयो छ, क्युआर कोड छ।
क्युआर कोड ए हुन्छ एकछिन पर्खिनुहोस् है।
त्यसमा छिटो अहिलेको के जमाना निस्क्यो।